Okay, I received a request for a video to talk about the DC handgun deal, the carry concealed deal in DC. Due to federal lawsuits, Washington DC is going to have to provide concealed carry licenses. There was a grace period a few weeks ago where they would allow any open carrier from anywhere in the country to carry open in DC. I'm not Emily Miller, but I think that open carry grace period bullshit is expiring. So check with Emily Miller, see if she'll get back to you on it. Or check with DC police if you're going in that area before you're doing like that. But DC is now going to have to provide concealed carry licenses for people. Now, the DC Council, they had a blanket ban on carrying concealed, which meant no one could carry concealed, period. No rape victim, no stalking victim, no one carries a lot of money, no cab driver, no nothing. No one could carry concealed. Now, the DC City Council was like, oh, god damn it, we have to do this? Ugh. Why do we have to do this? And one DC councilwoman said she wanted all gun owners on a map. Now, Christmas Eve 2012, I get an email from Speed Dog saying, hey Vin, your name's on a list. The Journal News is a newspaper in lower New York State. They also have a corresponding website. And the Journal News said, basically, where are the gun owners in your neighborhood? And they had a Megan's Law style map with dots on it. And if you look at the dot, name, address of the gun owner, and then you zoom in closer, you get the actual picture of the front of the house. Just like a Megan's Law. This guy's a rapist, this guy's a sodomite, this woman had child porn. Yeah, just like that. And now, in New York State, in order for you to have a handgun, you have to have a license. No long gun outside of New York City needs a license, but New York State, handgun, license. New York City, any gun, license. The Journal News asked for, and they had to ask this before the St. Luke Massacre. They had asked this months earlier. They asked for City Clerk of New York City, County Clerk of Westchester, County Clerk of Rockland, which is north of me, County Clerk of Putnam, which is north of me. Give us the list of all your concealed carry holders. Putnam County has more gun owners than any other county in the state, which is a joke because it's 10th to the size of Westchester. But they said no, fuck you. Westchester, New York City, and Rockland give it right up. Now, a police officer, police, probation, corrections, parole, does not need a license to have a gun. They use their shield. Some of them have licenses from before they got on the job. Some got their license after they got on the job. When a police officer is a year from retirement, he or she tells the county clerk or their district, I'm going to retire from the police department. Give me a civilian license for a gun, for handguns. Now, so there are a lot of police officers that have handgun licenses for whatever reason. There were a lot of actors in the criminal justice system across the board. Police, probation, parole, bail bonds, corrections, judges, prosecutors, witnesses, victims advocates, you name it. They all have handguns. Anyway, all their names were on the list too. In my county of Westchester, we had a woman who was a stalking victim, and she was free for 2 years. Stalker referred to the list and got her back. I don't know if he showed up at her house. I don't know if he looked at the phone book and got her phone number from the matching address and called her. I don't know if he threatened her, but he found her again. White Plains, which is our county seat, 2 homes were burglarized. The burglars wanted to take the guns. Rockland County, the sheriff complained that his deputies in his jail, the inmates would talk to their friends at home. The friends would look at the map, get the deputies' addresses, and the inmate would walk up to the deputy and say his address to his face. Imagine the horror that you're a sheriff's deputy in a jail and a guy that you know is a bad guy, murderer, gang member, he tells you what your home address is, and because you're standing right in front of him in the jail, he knows your wife and kids are home alone. There was a huge uproar about that. People canceled their Journal News subscriptions. People called the Journal News to tell them off. One guy published a map leading to names and addresses of journalists who violate the Second Amendment. And the Journal News felt threatened, and they hired armed guards to protect their businesses and their homes. And the armed guards chased the press away like the plague. Talk about hypocrisy. That was that. So, there was a huge uproar. Now, Washington, D.C. has the city government, which runs the city, duh, and the federal government, Congress, Senate, White House, this thing, Supreme Court, that building, blah, blah, blah. FBI, CIA, Pentagon. Well, Pentagon is in Virginia, but you get the idea. Imagine the list when it's published in D.C. Imagine all the Secret Service guys and U.S. Marshals and generals and admirals who have a personal gun for off-duty carry in D.C. Imagine their name being on a list. So yeah, they put a lot of people in danger with that list. Detectives that were on Major Crimes Unit, narcotics, undercover, retired detectives did undercover, Special Victims Unit, okay, gang intelligence. They put a lot of people in the justice system in a lot of danger, and they should have been charged with a crime. But they weren't. You do not have a constitutional right to put someone's life in danger. I do not have a right to endanger a retired police detective and his kids. I don't have that right. I have a right to say fuck the police, but I do not have a right to put a police officer in physical danger. And publishing his name and address so that his enemies know where his wife and kids are when he's at work, that's classified as danger. So that's going to happen in D.C. probably. Get ready for that shit. The other aspect is the concealed carry licenses will be issued on the may issue basis. Now, may issue means you have to prove to the licensing officer that you have justifiable need for a concealed carry license. And I have seen female licensing officers refuse to give concealed carry licenses to female stalking victims. If the licensing officer is a lifetime NRA member, you get the license. If they're a lifetime Brady campaign member, you don't get the license, period. Now, the May issue happened, Big Tim Sullivan was the second most corrupt politician in New York State history. And in 1911, he enacted a concealed carry law, which is one of the first concealed carry laws nationwide. If you had a justifiable need for a concealed carry license, you could have one. Now, what do they mean by justifiable need? Well, prior to 1968, a convicted felon could legally have a concealed carry license. A convicted felon could have a gun on. Not anymore, but they could legally prior to 1968. So you had a lot of gangsters that had political connections, and they used that law to have concealed carry licenses for their enforcers. Now, good cause in New York City meant, here's a brown paper bag, take it in the back room and open it up. What's in this for you? That was good cause. Good cause was my daughter dates the mayor's son. That was good cause. Good cause was my brother is the captain of the Major Crimes Unit. That was good cause. Good cause was, I saw you take a bribe and I won't tell Internal Affairs if I get my license. That was good cause. Good cause was, here's $10,000 for the policeman's widow's fund. That was good cause, okay? The concealed carry license was used as currency for scumbags in the 1900s. If you read the Godfather novel, Luca Brasi has a concealed carry license for New York City. It cost Don Corleone $10,000 to get because of bribing and connecting. Now, in New York City today, you cannot have a concealed carry license if you're a felon. But it is still the currency of scum, because they are still issuing concealed carry licenses in New York City to celebrities, politicians, their bodyguards. There was a FOIA request a few years ago. Donald Trump, his son, Chuck Schumer, Harvey Keitel, Robert De Niro, all have concealed carry licenses. Their name was on the list. The list had mostly retired cops, But everyone that wasn't a retired cop was connected somehow. Friends or relatives, or all of Bloomberg's friends. All of Bloomberg's friends have concealed carry licenses. Yes. Okay? Who's your best friend? Who do you know? Can you shake my hand? Give me a hug. Okay? What do you know what's under the table? Okay? What's in that Bronco Bay? Okay? It was all who do you know. Remember Heath Ledger? Heath Ledger had a condo in New York City. His massage therapist had the key, let herself in, opened up the table, got ready, went into the bedroom. He wasn't responding. Picked up the phone, calls Mary Kate Olsen. They eventually get around to calling a fucking ambulance, but in the meantime, Mary Kate Olsen sends her bodyguard. Bodyguard gets there before the police and the ambulance get there. Bodyguard's got a gun on him. I don't know if it was printing or if he had a jacket on, but the gun came from his license. How do you get a concealed carry license? Well, Mary Kate Olsen's rich. Okay? So I went down to the headquarters with him and said, this is my bodyguard. I have a lot of money on me. I'm a celebrity. Okay? Believe me. Okay? They have a way of getting around it. Okay? So that is how they have concealed carry licenses in New York City on the May issue basis. It's been going on for years. Okay? And they've had people go into the city police and say, listen, I'm being threatened. I have a death threat. Someone wants to kill me. You don't need it. They don't qualify. You're still paying the money for the investigation, but we're just not going to give you the license. $400, that's gone. 8 months, there you go. John Stossel couldn't get one. He's been threatened. Okay, you have to be politically connected to get a concealed carry license in New York City. And with Washington D.C. being New York City to the nth degree with politics, that's what you're going to see in New York City. You're going to see the bullshit. Okay, you're going to see in New York City. In D.C. You will see in Washington, D.C., celebrities, politicians, their bodyguards, dignitaries, all with concealed carry licenses. Okay, you're going to see it. Okay, you're going to see the mayors, the city council members, the police commissioners' girlfriends. Okay, all of the people in D.C. who are politically connected will all have carry concealed licenses. Dianne Feinstein will have one. Okay, Chuck Schumer will have one. Okay. Anybody who is anybody in Washington, D.C., anybody who is in the loop will get their May issue concealed carry license. That will happen. Okay? So that's I don't know if that's the question that the viewer was asking, but they wanted to know what I thought of the Washington, D.C. concealed carry ruling. And that's what I think about it. If they go May issue, they will specifically give carry concealed licenses to those that are politically connected. Okay? That's what May issue means. May issue means you have a good cause. And good cause means, okay, another example from history. Martin Luther King asked for a concealed carry license. He didn't get it. Why? Because the Democratic Party controlled the Klan and the police. They ordered the Klan to bomb his house. They ordered the police department not to give him a concealed carry license. Adolf Hitler. Read Gun Control in the Third Reich by Stephen Holbrook. Read it. You must read it. In Nazi Germany, you wanted to get a gun license, you had to have a good reason. Good reason means you're not a Jew and you are friends with Hitler. All of Hitler's friends had concealed carry licenses in Germany. All of Hitler's buddies and campaign contributors and all the guys who were in the loop had concealed carry licenses and special licenses for machine guns in the Third Reich. That is what good cause means. They specifically say in writing, good cause means we're only going to let you carry a gun in public if you are threatened. You are afraid for a good reason. But, you know what I mean? Yeah, you know what I mean. Okay, thank you. My battery's running low, I think, so I'm talking fast.